This episode of the Dungeoncast has been brought to you by Hero Forge. Hero Forge has fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy races and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build the perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser. There are plastic and metal options for your custom mini. And Hero Forge even offers downloadable model files for users to 3D print their unique designs at home. Plus, they're constantly expanding the catalog of customization options. They're adding new parts every week and major features like races and custom posing on a regular basis. All you have to do is go to heroforge.com and you can start designing your custom mini today. It's super easy. And don't forget to check back and visit them every now and again because they're always adding new content. One more time, that's heroforge.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Will.
I'm Brian.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from misusing magic to modest mummies. And today, we're covering Maglubiyet. The Dungeoncast. Hey Brian.
Hi, Will.
We're back.
Maglubiyet sounds like a sticky pudding or whatever.
That's
like a British
tapioca?
dessert.
Oh,
Yeah,
British
tapioca.
dessert. Okay, that's interesting. Well, he's not. We've actually talked a bit about Maglubiyet. He's unavoidable to talk about whenever you talk about goblins, and we've covered goblins, bugbears, and hobgoblins, so he's come up in every single episode.
I love the hobgoblins episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode. But today we're actually talking about the man himself, Maglubiyet.
Okay.
So Maglubiyet is the lawful evil deity of destruction, war, and tyranny. He is most notably known as the chief deity among all the goblin kind, just the goblin kind.
It's probably been a long time since he's come up in the show.
Yeah, it's been a while. By goblin kind, I of course mean goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears. He rules the goblins and their pantheon with an iron oppressive fist. He is known as Fiery Eyes, the Mighty One, the High Chieftain, the Lord of Depths and Darkness, the Battle Lord, and the Iron One.
That's quite a catalog of names.
True. His symbol is a bloody axe.
Oh, there it is.
He's infamous for his strategy and cunning on the battlefield, his dedication to orderly warfare, and his absolute ruthlessness. So, I mean, in short, he's a dick. So, Maglubiyet is depicted as an 11-foot tall goblin with skin as black as pitch. He's extremely well-muscled and has sharp talons on his hands and feet. Where eyes should be, he instead has fire.
Okay.
It is said that
That's fucking rad.
which is why he's called Fiery Eyes. Yeah, it is said Maglubiyet wields a mighty coal black battle axe that endlessly drips with blood, kind of just like Grumpsh's blood spear.
Okay, cool.
Which also drips endlessly with blood, which is fitting since they are bitter rivals.
Okay, so they're just similar enough.
Yeah, they're super similar. We're gonna get into it.
Okay.
So let's just keep going. So it isn't stated where Maglubiyet came from in the first place, but it is known that he originally was not god of the goblins. In time immemorial, goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears were separate, distinct peoples with separate, distinct pantheons. But all that changed when Maglubiyet attacked. He conquered all those who rose against him, mortal and deity alike. He slayed every single goblin deity, except for one, subjugated the two major bugbear deities, and left alive among the hobgoblin gods only those who would bow to his will and his plan to bring the goblinoids to glory via the warpath.
So the goblins were super segregated before Maglubiyet came.
Yeah, they were super segregated, and their pantheons were more nuanced before Maglubiyet, where like with the orc pantheon, like all the orc gods are mostly evil. Yeah. But with the goblin pantheons before that, like there was good goblin gods, neutral goblin gods, but all those got destroyed because they didn't jive with Maglubiyet's plan.
Okay.
So yeah, moving on.
Cool.
So deities like Nomag Gaia, god of war and authority, and saying this is going to be difficult, Kurgor Beag, god of slavery and oppression, are the types of deities that joined Maglubiyet's cause that he left alive.
Kurgor Beag.
Yeah, those are the types of gods that were like with him on his ship.
Okay.
So the goblins got it rough because now Maglubiyet, along with his dark pantheon, subjugate all of goblin kind, driving them to war and conquest and preparing them for an afterlife of eternal strife and battle.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool for the goblins.
No, I mean, well, is it? Aren't goblins down for this shit?
Some are, some aren't. Like, they don't really have a choice, and so most goblins and hobgoblins are fucking miserable.
I mean,
because their gods suck.
Nobody cares, right?
What
Does
do you
anybody
mean?
care how goblins feel? Is that a thing?
Well, yeah, a lot. That's another thing that sucks for him is like, yeah, most people don't care how goblins feel. So when Maglubiyet finishes his conquest of the goblins and their gods, He established a strict hierarchy to his new subjects and worshippers. To the goblins, Maglubiyet taught fear. He placed them at the bottom of the hierarchy to serve as slaves, cannon fodder, scouts, and soldiers. He taught the bugbears the practicality of cold brutality in order to hone their wildness and power to something of use. Bugbears serve in the middling of the hierarchy as shock troops, ambuscades, heavy labor, and tanks. In hobgoblins, Maglubiyet saw the most potential. To them, he taught discipline, tactics, and warfare. Hobgoblins sit at the top of the hierarchy, serving as captains, generals, battle mages, and the main military host.
Yeah, because they wear regular armor, like a regular warrior.
Right, exactly. They're like badass soldiers.
They're super goblins.
Super goblins, if you will. Yes, it's true. So, as with most evil deities in D&D, Maglubiyet's end goal is universal domination, via conquest specifically.
Okay.
Starting with his home plane of Acheron and spreading from there. As such, his dogma and will bend his followers towards this purpose. Maglubiyet revels in both conflict and destruction. He pushes his followers to wage war. To the goblins, Maglubiyet calls them to increase their numbers and overrun their enemies. To the bugbears, Maglubiyet calls for them to obey the call to the host of war and to emulate their father gods who obey Maglubiyet's will.
Okay.
And to the hobgoblins, Maglubiyet calls for them to wage war on the grand scale, bring enemies to their knees, raise empires, and expand territory in Maglubiyet's name.
Okay. So that's the whole strat right there.
Yeah, that's the whole strat put together. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So as one would imagine, Maglubiyet is a rather unpopular deity with very few allies. He has garnered the ire of the pantheons of the elves, the dwarves, the gnomes, and the halflings as he regularly wages war upon their various peoples via the goblins.
Right.
But the greatest of Maglubiyet's foes is the chief of the orc pantheon, Grumsh. So despite one being chaotic and the other being lawful, these two have a bit too much in common to ever be allies. Both are war gods who demand conquest from their followers. Both hold enmity against all other deities. Both are trying to raise an endless eternal army to invade other planes. And they happen to be neighbors.
Are they? Is this the regular D&D formula of self-neutralization?
Exactly.
Okay.
They keep each other neutralized. So
I actually have come to appreciate the plot hook where it's like, well, it's been this way for so long until, and then there's your campaign hook.
Exactly. Until Maglubiyet gets the upper hand and suddenly Grumsh is on the run.
Until he figures out that he can just like flood a room with all the blood from the axe.
There we go.
Just drown the enemies.
There you go.
There it is.
So both Grumsh and Maglubiyet make their home on the infernal battlefield of Acheron. And here they send endless wave after wave of orc and goblin forces against each other, an eternal struggle. Maglubiyet calls his goblin forces the army of immortals and allows any goblinoid who has proven their worth in life to join this army of immortals in death. Maglubiyet marshals a well-organized and strict hierarchical force against the chaotic hordes of the orcs in the hopes of bringing the orc gods to heel. This war has been in a bitter stalemate since time immemorial.
Is it Maglubiyet like Davy Jones? Is he like part of the ship, part of the crew? Join my immortal boat crew?
Let's
go. Let's wage
really.
war upon the seas.
Yeah, I mean, no, because it's not like a part of the ship, part of the crew kind of deal.
Well, they're an act.
It's kind of like Dark Valhalla, basically. It's like if you're worthy, you can join my army of immortals.
And Acheron. Is the Blood War just like going on adjacent to this?
So the Blood War takes place in the Nine Hells and the Abyss.
So that's not. What is Acheron?
So Acheron is the lawful neutral / lawful evil plane of existence. It's one of those like in-betweeners. So it's between the lawful neutral plane of Mechanus and the lawful evil plane of the Nine Hells.
Okay.
And devils and Eugoliths and stuff come here all the time. It is an evil place for the most part.
Super evil.
But it's more about like lawfulness than evil. I don't even know what Grumsh is here, quite frankly. But he is.
What the Grumsh is even doing there?
What the Grumsh is he even doing there? Yeah, Acheron's a weird place because it's basically this eternal void full of these enormous metallic cubes. And these, I mean, by enormous, they're anywhere from like the size of an island to the size of a continent made of metal. And like everything, all the cities, all the people, they exist on these cubes. And so like Grumsh has his own cube, and Maglubiyet has his own cube, and like they invade each other's cubes. It's weird. Let's take a short rest.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the episode we're not talking about that last thing, but we will kind of in a weird roundabout way.
Will we?
Yes, we have, thank you to everybody who listens to the show, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you can also hear the sound of my love. Say it, Will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I love you guys too.
That was the longest silence.
I was just like, is this the sound of his love?
I could be.
Okay.
Everything I make on the Dungeoncast is imbued with love.
All right.
Much like Mistress Weave. That was last episode.
Was
I'm
last
allowed
episode.
to talk about that here. We are making changes. So it's November now. Well, not when we're recording this, but when you're listening to it, it is.
Yeah, it should be almost the second week of November.
Like any time after.
right?
It's either November or like an infinite amount of time after that, as long as like this podcast exists.
That's also
in
true.
The world.
Yes.
So we are going to our annual Patreon exclusive custom item is changing.
Yeah.
We are going to be officially retiring the shout out to Demogorgon mug. It has already been retired by the time this airs. So October 31st was the deadline. Anybody who came into the $20 tier before that was scheduled to receive a mug. And that's going to do it, folks. Thanks to everybody who came out and got yourself a shout out to Demogorgon mug. Will, thanks for making the art on that. It's really cool.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that new item.
Yeah.
That new. So everybody that's in the $20 tier, you guys are going to get re-upped pretty much. I think by December, we'll probably be sending mugs out to anybody that. Mugs. We're changing the item. It's not. Did we say a mug? It's not going to be a mug anymore.
I think it is. Oh, wait. No, it's not. We're okay. So the new item for what is it going to be? 2020 now for the $20 tier is going to be a What the Grumps t-shirt, which we are working on a design and we'll reveal shortly.
Yes, we're getting some artwork. All prepped for getting a new shirt printed. So yeah, it's going to be a What the Grumps shirt. We're also going to be rolling out a brand new tier.
Indeed,
which
we are.
Is above the $30 tier. Do we have it? Or
$20 tier.
above the $20 tier. It's going to be a $30 tier, and it's actually going to be almost like a Dungeoncast loot subscription of some kind.
Almost in a way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of a what's it called, like when something proceeds to get better and better the longer you're in it. There's a word for that, and I can't think what it is. But I'm sure someone in the comments will say exactly what that word is that I'm thinking of. Anyways, you will get a exceedingly better prize for every 2 months you're a part of the $30 tier. The first prize that you will get is a Dungeoncast pin, a custom pin that we've made.
Yeah, and that's going to be on sign up. Like once you, I think you jump in and we're going to send you a Dungeoncast pin. I've received the prototype pin. They look fucking cool.
The second item you will get will be the What the Grumps t-shirt that you will get with the $20 tier if you go that route. But if you go the $30 tier, you'll also get it. And then the next prize you'll get is a What the Grumps mug, which will be completely exclusive to the $30 tier. And finally, the final prize you will get is a Dungeoncast baseball cap.
Yeah. So pretty much like if you guys are interested in supporting us long term, this is a way to continue to give back to the community that is helping support us. We do have expenses that come with the show. We try to make upgrades to make the show better, and it really has made our lives easier thanks to you guys. We really appreciate all of the people that got the shout out to Demogorgon mug. You guys are freaking awesome. If you stick around, you'll get the What the Grumps shirt, and if you upgrade to the 30, you'll get the shirt. But you'll also get those other 3 items as you progress. Clock time.
Yeah.
And then it'll pretty much work the same way as the $20 tier, where annually we will change up all of the items that are going on.
Yeah, so the $30 tier will get 4 new items every year.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I think we can get back to the episode.
Ooh, catch our contest, which is either just about to end or...
Yeah. Well, let's see. When this episode airs, they'll have a little bit of time left, at least a week or so.
Yeah.
So if you want to win a copy of the new upcoming Eberron book, Eberron Rising from the Last War, for 5th edition D&D, all you have to do is share an episode of our show, Super Quest Saga. If you share it on any social media outside of Twitter, just send us a screenshot. If you share it on Twitter, just use the hashtag SuperQuest. And if you share it on Instagram, Brian has some rules set out there for you.
Yeah. If you go to Instagram, there's a post with the cover of the book. Just follow the rules. Follow those rules that are in that post. Okay. You tag 2 people, you recommend Super Quest Saga. Hopefully they go check it out.
We will be announcing a winner on the 19th of November. So best of luck to all of you.
So yeah, please help us spread the word about Super Quest Saga, our D&D 5e live play set in space where we kick ass. Let's get back to the show.
Let's do it. spoke about Maglubiyet, we were talking about his many, many enemies.
We've returned.
Oh, yes, we've returned.
Oh, I've not fully returned. Okay, headphones are on. We've returned.
And last we were talking about Maglubiyet, we were talking about his many, many enemies.
Yes. It's easy to get many, many enemies when you're a giant asshole.
When you're a fucking asshole.
If you have a bleeding axe, it makes paladins just like really shake with the murder itch.
Yeah, shake with fury. Righteous fury.
righteous smite fury.
But Maglubiyet also has some allies. And amongst Maglubiyet's allies are only the gods of the Goblinoid pantheon.
Yeah, I was going to say they're probably goblin based, right?
Yeah. Okay. And most of those alliances are marred by disdain and abuse.
Okay.
So
yeah.
You have, oh God, I'm going to struggle with a lot of these names. I'm going to do the best I can. So the first god is Bargrivyek, the peacekeeper. He serves Maglubiyet by enforcing peace between all goblin tribes. And then there's Kergorbayag, the overseer, is one of the chief lieutenants of Maglubiyet who secretly plots to overthrow him.
Okay, that tracks with like tons of. There's always one of these mother truckers up in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this one specifically enforces the slave culture of the goblin kind. He's the god of slavery and oppression. So that's just what he does. Then there's Nomag Gaia, something like that. Nomag Gaia, the general, is Maglubiyet's top lieutenant and a truly subservient ally, unlike the other two.
Okay.
He guides the hobgoblins just kind of in general. He gives them all the he's kind of the liaison between Maglubiyet and the hobgoblins, where he teaches them all the orderliness and structure and discipline that Maglubiyet wants instilled in them.
Okay.
Then there are the brother gods of Grankul and Hrugek, who are like the two bugbear deities, the major ones anyways. And they're generally allowed to roam free and do whatever they want.
Okay.
But under one caveat to that, they must heed Maglubiyet's call to war when he demands it.
Oh, okay.
And they must teach the bugbears to do as they do, so that the bugbears must heed the call of the hobgoblins, and the hobgoblins call them to war.
So it's pretty much like go be yourself until I tell you
until
otherwise.
I need you. Yeah, exactly.
And then it's time
I love what you do, and I want you to do it for me. So do what you do, but then when I call, come do it for me.
Yeah. When the time comes, pick up that morning star and come swing it on my enemies' faces.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
So we also were talking a bit about Acheron before the break, and it's a silly place, but Acheron is a plane made up of enormous metallic cubes floating in an infinite void.
It's made up of D6 blunt damage that never got used.
Yeah. Now the cubes are called cubes, but they're not all cube shaped. Like a lot of them are cube shaped, but they're just general floating metallic shapes out in space.
It's all the metal dice you never bought
Right,
that you could have had.
It's so true.
They're all just floating out in this fucking weird ass plane.
Right.
And orcs and goblins are fighting over them.
And the cubes, they crash into each other regularly. It's said that the smaller cubes are some of the more ancient cubes that have just been whittled down slowly over time from crashing into each other.
Okay. This D8 has turned into a D6.
D4.
Yeah, or a D4.
Yeah, there you go. So Maglubiyet dwells within a carved out metallic cube known as Clangor. Clangor is an extremely well-defended domain covered in protective walls and towers and cities. And within the cube is a massive sprawling barracks manned by the Immortal Army, including a massive wolf/warg warrens where the elite wolf riders keep their mounts.
Okay.
So, I mean, we talked about this in the Goblin episode, but goblins are notorious warg riders. And so a lot of wargs, I guess when they die, their souls come here too, because he's also the god of wargs, I guess.
To Acheron.
Yeah.
So is it made of
episode on wargs.
Is it made of D20s or something?
What made of D20s?
This war barracks area you were describing and all that stuff?
it's all they're caverns carved throughout this entire cube. So imagine
so it's one big D20, but they've whittled their way through it.
Sure, exactly.
Like the hungry caterpillar.
It's like these weird metallic caverns.
Okay, nice.
So I guess it would be similar to where the goblins lived in life, but all made of metal.
Do you ever wonder what's inside your dice making them roll bad? The minions of Maglubiyet.
Indeed. So embedded into one of the faces of Clangor is the mighty fortress of Shetring, an enormous bulwark.
Did you say Shetring?
No, I did not. I knew you were going to say that. It's spelt Shet. Shet is an E and not I, ring. And it's all one word, Shetring. It's a bad name. Let's just be real here. It's a bad name.
Yep.
But,
sure is.
Here we are. So Shetring is an enormous bulwark of steel with a mighty river running through it.
Oh, no. I don't want a mighty river running through my Shetring.
I can't with you.
This fruit hangs so low.
So the river is called Lorfang. And 5 mighty bridges provide access to the fortress from both sides of the river.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this river wells up from a spring and passes through the fortress and then plunges into the heart of the cube. At the bottom of this waterfall, Maglubiyet dwells within.
I'm doing my best over here, man. I'm doing my best trying to keep it together and not go down the poop joke hole.
So Maglubiyet dwells within a foggy, wet iron cavern. I can't do this.
Stop the show.
Stop the show.
Help. Help.
Maglubiyet dwells in the bowels of Clangor.
You need to start that sentence over.
No, I mean, I'll stand by what I said. So.
That's fine.
So okay. Maglubiyet's, so that's where he lives. I don't know if you got any questions about that.
I have a question about what you just said. Can we get that last bit again?
Do you want me to just say the whole thing again?
Yeah, for cohesiveness, so I can get the whole thought without
So the river wells up from a spring, passes through the fortress, and then plunges into the heart of the cube. At the bottom of this waterfall, Maglubiyet dwells within a foggy, wet iron cavern.
Got it.
Cool. So moving on. My last point is just a little bit on like the general clergy of Maglubiyet. And so Maglubiyet's clergy is primarily made up of goblinoid priests and shaman that filled their lord's divine command for blood sacrifices. It said that with every sacrifice made in his name, grants him strength. The life force essentially goes to him whenever they make these sacrifices.
Okay, cool. Who are they sacrificing? Each other?
Sometimes each other, criminals and stuff, but mostly enemies, like captured enemies and stuff like that.
Okay.
Also, I think just the act of attacking your foe, like the blood you spill in war, I think that also powers. And he's a war god, so if you commit war, it's going to help him out in general. Yeah. Although there's a lot of war gods in D&D, so is that portioned out? Does Bane get a little? And Maglubiyet gets a little.
So there's this one pool of war power, and everybody that does more war gets a bigger piece allotted to them.
That's what I'm asking. I don't know. Yeah. But also in Forgotten Realms, Maglubiyet is actually an exarch of Bane. But then Bane died, and I think Bane's back, but I don't really know the story of Bane, so I'm not going to get into it.
Have you seen the one with Jet Li?
Yes.
You know how he has to eat himself for power?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't eat himself, but yeah, he's to murder his other. Yeah, he could, I suppose. That's one way
it's
to do
all the
it.
same, but
Sure.
he's basically his energy is all spread out through these different copies of himself, and as he kills them, the power returns to the remaining copies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's how I'm thinking.
Yeah, I could see it kind of being like that between the war gods. Yeah, if one war god kills all the other ones, he's definitely going to become way more powerful.
Yeah, if you're winning the war, then you get more power for war or something.
Right. So yeah, any other questions about Maglubiyet?
Man. Nah.
All right. Well, with that being... Well, go ahead.
Nah.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get ready for our long rest.
Okay.
Before we go, I just want to urge you all to please check out our 5e D&D live play, Super Quest Saga. It's a show where we here at the Dungeoncast sit around the table and play some Dungeons & Dragons. Specifically, it's a sci-fi space adventure, although still extremely... attached to fantasy. I would call it more of a future fantasy adventure. And we have a lot of fun. The audience is loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving DMing it.
Yeah, man. I roll my D20 and I just kind of narratively figure out what to do.
Yeah, indeed.
It's great.
And if you guys are interested in seeing us play, you should check that out. The link is in the description.
Come watch Josh Freeland throw the biggest fucking dice I've ever seen.
So true. It hits the table so
heavy. God.
And with that being said,
yeah, let's call it a game.
Let's call it a game.
Bye.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Check out our merch store.
The Dungeoncast.